Hi folks, happy Valentine's Day. It's February 14th. And listen, I think that today's a really good day to make a confession. Yep, I'm going to come up and I'm going to let you know that I'm in favor of global warming. Yes, I'm a fan. Let me tell you why. Some 15,000 years ago, global warming actually started. And until that point, there was all these ice sheets, and they were in Canada, they were in Europe, they were in Siberia, and you know, they melted. And that's a good thing, because here in Calgary, we had 2 miles of ice over top of us, and now we don't. Yeah, it's a real miracle. So the other thing is, I got to see the Arctic without the ice in it. Well, there was some ice, but it came and went. So I'm a big fan of global warming. I'm not a big fan of all of the hype about global warming, because it can be a very good thing and we have to adapt. Besides, all of the driven agenda that we see from people is one that I have a problem with. CO2 didn't cause the big melt 15,000 years ago. In fact, what was really cool 15,000 years ago was the fact that the Canadian ice sheet, the Laurentide one, melted from the inside out. That's right. Yeah, we knew this back when I was doing my astronomy and science studies back in the late 60s, early 70s. And it's really cool because if you throw a whole bunch of ice cubes in your whiskey glass, they don't melt from the inside out. They go from the outside in. Okay, so what is going on there? We don't know. But what it resulted in was phenomenal, because right over top of the Hudson Bay was the center of this thing, and it expanded outward, a huge lake, and expanded outward, and it came all the way almost to the Rocky Mountains, and then east on the other side towards Greenland. And then it finally reached a point of critical mass where the ice that was ringing it in finally started to float away. And when it did, of course, all the water slipped underneath that ice. It started to ease up, and then it broke. Now, there's a professor at the University of Washington, state of Washington. He's got a really cool series that talks about all of this. And all of the scarring from the big flood and the release of water. Of course, it raised the water level around the world by 400 feet. And that, we're still getting over that. The sea levels are all over the map. As the continents didn't have the big weight of the ice, they rose up, and the sea levels went up, and they're kind of just all still sorting themselves out, plus many other factors that are going on. And remember, 71% of our planet is ocean. Now think about that. Remember when we saw the first pictures of Apollo 10 when they went around the moon, and we saw with the moon there and then the Earth there, and it was a blue marble, and everybody was astonished. And then we realized that we're living on a water planet. 71% of our planet is ocean, and that is what controls our climate. Now, how big is our atmosphere? There's another question. All right, take a basketball, plunk it in a whole bunch of water, shake off all the drips and drops. There'll be a small, tiny film of water over that basketball. If you want to know the perspective, that film of water that you can barely see is more than 100 times thicker than the atmosphere is on the Earth. That's right. Our atmosphere is incredibly thin. So that's another little thing to keep things into perspective. CO2 causing all this? No. CO2 we need for the life of our planet. It just doesn't make sense. Think about just the math. A molecule of CO2 would have to have a whole nuclear bomb inside of it in order to create enough energy to raise the temperature of the planet of the Earth. Because there isn't a lot of CO2 in the Earth. It's only 0.04% of the atmosphere. And it's just such a tiny, tiny portion of our whole system. The ocean has got way more CO2 in it. There's whole lakes of CO2 at the bottom of the ocean. There's all sorts of things that are in the CO2 in there. And look at all the limestone and dolomite. Limestone and dolomite is all CO2 captured from the air. So don't tell me CO2 is causing global warming. It is utter pile of horse apples. And if you don't know what horse apples are, you're going to have to go look them up. Anyway, I just wanted to make that confession. I'm a big fan of global warming. We can adapt. The sea levels will rise, the sea levels will fall, and we will adapt as we did when we had all the ice sheets. So there you go, guys. God bless. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.